Monday Night Raw was on last night, so let's take a second to talk about everything that happened. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Raw Review, the show where I tell you and talk about everything that happened last night on Monday Night Raw. Now, if you are new here, you've stumbled yourself across the Joe Hall Wrestling YouTube channel. Make sure to go down below, drop a like and subscribe if you are new here, because we post almost daily, most days, and I would hate for you to miss out on the wrestling videos. Now, to start out this week's episode of Monday Night Raw, we would have CM Punk in the ring cutting a promo where he would call out Seth and say, look, this is going to lead to whatever it's going to lead to eventually. Let's just get it out, over and done with now. Seth would come out from the crowd. You know, they'd have a bit of a back and forth. CM Punk would call Seth a fan. He'd say, yeah, you're out there with the rest of the CM Punk fans. That's where you belong. And Seth would say something along the lines of, well, this CM Punk fan has main evented more WrestleManias than you ever will. Or it was a really good back and forth. This would then lead to an absolutely huge brawl with everyone scrapping everywhere. I say everyone. CM Punk and Seth scrapping everywhere. Producers, referees, security trying to separate them. They're constantly going back and forth at each other, running around to fight everywhere, all over the arena. So that was great viewing. I think this feud is really heating up now, and I am really excited for it. And maybe, just maybe, we'll get a further announcement later on in the show. Following on from this, we would see a backstage segment from the Judgment Day. Now, Finn would accuse the Judgment Day of not helping him on Saturday. He'd say, where were you? Why did you let me go into a 2-on-1 or something like that? It was ridiculous. And they just basically said, well, we thought you could do it by yourself. We thought you were capable. Showing, again, what we've been seeing for weeks now. More cracks forming in the Judgment Day, and Finn, you know, using everyone else as a scapegoat for his own shortcomings. This is exactly what we've been saying for weeks now, that Finn's ego is getting the better of him, and he's going to start using everyone as a scapegoat until someone eventually turns. Following on from this, also backstage, we would see Seth talking to Adam Pearce. Now, Seth would demand that Adam Pearce make the match. Adam Pearce would say, look, I will if you stop scrapping everywhere. I've just censored myself, it's fine. But he's like, oh, we'll make the match if you stop scrapping everywhere, stop fighting all this stuff, and give me a chance to actually make it. So, again, a bit of foreshadowing. Maybe the match will be made, maybe it won't be. But this would be followed by Drew interrupting and talking to Seth. Now, they would both compare what they went through with Roman and, you know, Jay and Sammy, and, you know, Seth said, well, Drew said, you know, you told me when it was Roman to stop making it personal. What are you doing with CM Punk? This, that, and the other. Now, obviously, they would talk about Sammy and Jay, and Seth would say, look, I respect Sammy, I respect Jay, they're my friends. You, my friend, are not. Well, you wouldn't say you, my friend, he'd say you are not, because he's not his friend, but you get the point. And Seth also says that he's going to do something that Drew couldn't do, and that is end CM Punk. Overall, I think this was a nice little promo. Could it lead to something with Drew and Seth down the line, maybe coming together? Maybe. I thought, you know, maybe we'd see it. This kind of goes against it, that maybe we won't see it, but I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see what happens in the coming weeks. After this, we would go into a match, Ludwig Kaiser versus Bron Breakker. Now, this match was absolutely phenomenal. The one thing I loved about it was the fact it was given time. This match was given tons of time. It was a really good match, and I'm really, really liking Ludwig Kaiser. Kaiser really reminds me of a proper old-fashioned heel. Like, any of the offense he got in wasn't very clean. It was dirty offense. It was dirty fighting. You know, there's a lot of targeting Bron's shoulder, his left shoulder, which he had injured through Kaiser. And Kaiser, for the rest of the match, made that the story that I am going to take out any point of weakness that you've got. Like I said, I am really impressed with Kaiser, and I have to imagine that everyone backstage high up at WWE is as well, because he is a top guy. Now, ultimately, Bron Breakker would retain his championship, but Kaiser gave him a good run for his money, and I really do hope that somewhere down the line, Kaiser does get a shot at the title and does actually win it. I wouldn't mind. My idea of a great program would be Ludwig Kaiser beating Bron Breakker at maybe the Royal Rumble, holding the title going into WrestleMania, and then maybe you have Sheamus come in and have that big face Intercontinental Championship win at WrestleMania against a great heel in Ludwig Kaiser. To me, that's me, just a little bit of fantasy book in there, but that's what I'd love to see. We would then see another backstage segment where the New Day would be kicked out of the locker room by Rey Mysterio. This is just further establishing how big of a heel or how big of heels the New Day have become, that even, you know, the wrestlers backstage who they've worked with for years don't want anything to do with them. I absolutely love this. I love that they are making the New Day seem like evil, and they're really playing up to, like, no one agrees with what you've done to Big E. I think it was the right decision personally. Don't shoot me. I think most wrestling fans think it was the right decision, but I am absolutely loving this heel New Day so far. Now, next we would see Adam Pearce announced Seth Rollins versus CM Punk for the inaugural episode of Raw on Netflix. Now, me personally, I wasn't a fan of this. I really don't want to see this match on Raw on Netflix. You know, this could have been a Night 1 WrestleMania main event, and it still can be. But now you're going to take what could be a absolutely huge, monumental match and have it play second fiddle to Roman versus Solo on Raw on Netflix. I just think that's stupid. I think the match should have been saved personally, but we're going to see it on Raw on Netflix. I'm happy that the match is happening. I just wish there would be a bit more story building and then have it lead into WrestleMania, because you've got the Royal Rumble. You could have them face off in the Royal Rumble. You could have them both in an Elimination Chamber match and it'd work, but instead, no, we're not going to build to the big one-on-one match. We're just going to get it. We would then see a Liv, Dominic, and Raquel promo in the ring. Now, Liv, Dominic, and Raquel would come out. Dom would attempt to talk, and the crowd would boo him mercilessly. I thought we were going to be getting past this with Dom now, where the fans would just continuously keep booing him. But apparently not. It is still the popular thing to do, which is a shame, because I love Dom. Now, Liv would announce through a megaphone that she's the greatest women's champion of all time. So that was definitely interesting. But then whose music would hit? Rhea bloody Ripley. Rhea Ripley had come out and she would basically just say that the feud needs to end and make an announcement that she is the #1 contender for Liv's title. Another thing she said that was quite... She called Dominic Mysterio a chicken tender slut. How dare she? How dare she insult Daddy Dom? That is just... It's wrong on so many levels. Come on, Liv. Come on, Dom. Retain the title whenever the face-off with Rhea. Probably on Raw on Netflix, and that can go after CM Punk and Seth Rollins as well. I'm not salty about it, though. Now, after this, could we have potentially seen Drew attack Seth Rollins? We'll never know, because Sammy intercepted and Sammy and Drew brawled backstage. Huge, colossal fight. Now, this is further establishing the feud between Drew and Sammy. But maybe, just maybe, Drew was going to attack Seth as well. We don't know. We probably never will know, but it's something interesting to think about. We would then see another backstage segment where The Miz would again be trying to leave the Final Testament, trying to get out of it, when Karrion Kross would say, well, you're not leaving, we're not done, we've been chasing them, it's now time for them to chase us. Oh, and by the way, you've got a match with Dexter Lumis next week. So that was interesting, but Karrion Kross would also make an interesting statement after The Miz would walk away, saying that The Miz will needs to learn a lesson, and something about after making a deal with the devil, obviously the devil referring to Karrion Kross. I think there is going to be a big moment here where Karrion Kross does turn on The Miz, which I don't really know where we're going with this whole Miz and Final Testament thing. It's definitely interesting, and I am curious to see how it plays out, but I don't know where this is going, and it's confusing me, I can say that much. After this, we would finally get another match. Raquel Rodriguez versus Zoe Stark versus Kaden Carter in the Women's Intercontinental Championship Tournament. Now, the match itself was alright. Kaden Carter stood out for me. I think Raquel Rodriguez does what Raquel Rodriguez does best, and that is being a big, strong woman. You know, like a powerhouse woman. She's great. Zoe Stark, I can't stand. I really can't. I've seen her wrestle on TV. I've seen her wrestle live in person. Both times I've been bored. Bored brainless, bored stiff. I'm just bored. Now, ultimately, Zoe Stark would go on in the tournament. She would pick up the win, unfortunately, but hopefully she gets absolutely squashed by Dakota Kai in the next round. That might be harsh, but it's what I want, so please let me have it. I can't stand Zoe Stark. More backstage segments would follow on from this. We would have an Alpha Academy and R-Truth backstage segment. Now, R-Truth would, start talking about Pete Dunne, calling him Butch, whatever, and then Pete Dunne would interrupt and say, stop calling me that name, everyone's calling me that name now, but R-Truth has got some crap. He's got a lot of Butch, please, and son of a Butch and stuff. These things are incredible. They're so funny. Now, after them arguing, they would walk away, both of them, only for American-made to interrupt. Now, Chad Gable would be annoyed, saying, you've made a mockery of the academy that I started, and it's finally time that I tear it down, starting with you, as he points at Tozawa. So, in the coming weeks on Raw, I imagine we'll see Chad Gable versus Akira Tozawa, and this seems to be the feud that's going to, go on now. We'll see Chad Gable trying to tear down the Alpha Academy, starting with Tozawa, then it'll probably be Otis. So, interesting feud. I'm just glad they're doing something with Gable. I'd rather see him on TV at least doing something than not on it at all. Now, backstage, Zoe Stark would attack Kairi, saying... there's not much I can say. I don't like Zoe Stark. I do like Kairi Sane, and it's a shame that she attacked her, but Zoe Stark, the charisma vacuum. Now we got to our main event of the evening, the War Raiders versus the Judgment Day for the Tag Team Championships. Now, the Judgment Day, honestly, it looked very good in this match. So did the War Raiders. The match was really good, and there was a point near the end where I really thought the Judgment Day had it won. I was so convinced that they had it won. They did their tag team finisher where like JD does the moonsault off top rope, Finn does the coup de grace, and it's 1, 2, Ivar makes the save. Honestly, that was absolutely incredible. I was so shocked by that. I thought the match was over. I thought, oh my god, they've retained. Then as the match went on, I can't emphasize enough as well, the match got time, which you'd expect, but more time than I expected it to get. But as the match would go on, as I said, Finn tried to get a steel chair to use. Who would stop him from using it? Damian Priest. The feud's continuing between Finn and Damian. Damian Priest would stop Finn from using the chair. This would all lead to distractions, whatever. The War Raiders would hit War Machine. I think that's the finishing move, War Machine. They'd hit War Machine and they would pick up the win at 1, 2, 3. Now, honestly, like I said, the match itself was great. The match was really good, and I'm so happy that the Tag Team Championships are away from the Judgment Day. I'm not opposed to tag titles being in factions, but at the same time, they can't really be on a faction leader that's got other stories. The Tag Team Championships need to be kept in the Tag Team division. Finn's got other, storylines going on at the minute that he can't really defend them week in, week out. Not saying that he has to defend them week in, week out, but they're not on a tag team, which kind of diminishes the value of the championships a bit. Now, the War Raiders have got them, it'll give them a bit of legitimacy, and I hope down the line, maybe leading into Elimination Chamber, Elimination Chamber or WrestleMania, I wouldn't mind seeing the War Raiders versus this new heel New Day. So hopefully we get something along those lines, but we'll just have to wait and see. That is about it for everything that happened on Monday Night Raw, though. Overall, I think the show was pretty good. There was a lot of high spots. There was a couple of, moments, and there was a lot of average. Honestly, if I had to give this show a rating out of 10, like I do on this series, I'm going to give it a 6.5. 7 feels a bit too generous, but given the matches we had, Ludwig Kaiser versus Bron Breakker was incredible. The tag team title match at the end was really good. The other match, which was Zoe Stark, the Intercontinental Championship match, I wasn't really feeling, but it was a decent match. And the segments kind of dragged on a little bit. There was a lot of them. So, 6.5. You know what? I change it. 7. It's a 7 out of 10. It was a solid episode. But that is everything that we have to talk about as far as Monday Night Raw goes. Now, as I said earlier on in the video, if you are new here, make sure to go down below, drop a like and subscribe. And while you're down there, drop a comment and let me know what you thought of this week's episode of Monday Night Raw. That's going to wrap up today's video, though. So thank you all for watching. Goodbye.